Hi, I'm Patrick and this is the Mach-E vlog. One of the challenges of being an EV owner is public EV charging. Today we're going to meet with EcoG. They're a company that is making EV charging better and more reliable, and we're going to learn how. So let's go. Well, I'm really excited. We're here with Jörg. He's the CEO of EcoG, and we're going to talk about EcoG and EcoG coming to the US, which is really exciting.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. So you might know that we actually started in 2017 in Detroit as part of Techstars.
Right.
But of course, it was quite cool to see how fast Europe moving along with the charging infrastructure. So we decided first to tackle the European market. By accident, we then started also in India because they decided 3 years ago to also join into this Western world of standards. And so we pushed forward there with a Charging Association to make there also a significant footprint with the CCS standards on EV charging. And now, something like a year ago, we said, okay, now it's really time that also for the North American market, this moves forward. And we then discussed with Michigan, but also with Georgia, what would be a cool state from our perspective to start our activities. And thankful to also the MEDC in Michigan, so we had really a fast moving forward and decided in the beginning this year to have our North American headquarter in Detroit, which is exciting because we have been there 15 years long. Every year, talking with the big three, how the standard should look like, and so getting back there after all the time is really exciting.
Yeah, I imagine there's some good connections to that area for you.
Yeah. So, and it's, of course, business-wise, but also city-wise. If you think of the last 15 years, how this city was now getting up again, it's really amazing to see that.
Yeah, we've only been a couple of times ourselves, but it looks like there's a vibrancy coming back to the city. So that's really, really cool to see.
And it's exciting. So it's also, it's no longer one, let's say, Detroit downtown, but a lot of districts in the city getting up, having their own culture, kind of, and it's exciting to see.
Now, as an EV owner, what we're excited about, we've heard the stories of how good EV charging is in Europe compared to what we have in the US, and EV adoption is more advanced in Europe than it is in the US. So I'm excited because you guys are EV charging experts over in Europe. You want to talk a little bit about your history there and success there?
Yeah, so when we started in 2017, our understanding was this market is on the edge of further professionalization. So we stepped in and said, in the beginning of the market, you always have the companies doing things very vertically because there are no available technology on the market.
Right.
And so we're now changing over in 17, 18, 19 in Europe, and we provide to the market reference architecture and as an IP company also software and control components to make companies who have the capabilities to produce fast to step into this market. Because that's core, to accelerate. Still we are lacking behind on the infrastructure side, something like factor 3 to 4 compared to the vehicle side. And so it's really important to further professionalize that, and that's what we bring to the market. So we are not producing chargers by ourselves, but we help others like Siemens, iCharging and so on to get into using their production capabilities to step fast into this market and do it quite in a solid way on the EcoG technology. And so what we enable, so we are kind of like a catalyst, enable local companies to step into the market. So where, even if you look here on the fair, I would say on the charging infrastructure side, 80% yet comes out of Asia. And however, we see, charging infrastructure should integrate a lot in the business processes you have locally. And typically, local companies are a lot expert in this. So I can tell you, we are now having one of the biggest fuel dispenser companies worldwide as our customers, exactly stepping from their domain into now EV charging, because they have a way how they address the market with all the retailers and so on. So there they have a big asset, and now with our technology they produce also charging infrastructure for this notion of applications.
So it's really helping these companies that want to get involved. They may have expertise in production and distribution, but they're not experts in EV charging. So you can accelerate their path to producing their own chargers.
Yeah, and it's really a cool partnership there, because typically these companies are really professional in producing things, and that's also our success factor. So within 3 years, we captured 15% market share in Europe.
Wow.
And that's not only our success, that's also the success of our partners, having the logistics, the production capacity to step in. And that's the amazing part. Yeah, so it just needs this catalytic thing, so where we provide, how to do things. And we did now more than 40 charger series worldwide. Yeah, if you think of market leaders like ABB, they did now 6 or 7. We did 40 in 4 years. Yeah, so I think we are the company doing most of charging developments worldwide, due to the fact that we focused on where we are good at, which is basically the technology, not necessarily all the logistics and producing and so on, but the way how to build things that we are expert in.
And it helps people bypass all of that research and development and failures and success, so like they can sort of just build upon your own experience and knowledge.
Yeah, that's one key. So how you reduce also the risk if you step into this market, and how you develop it. But think also, if you do it now technology for 40 charger series and not only for 5 or 6, you have a total different scale how to do things. So we still see in the market the challenges, all the interoperability topics, because there are so many new players in the market building cars, right? So we have more companies building electric vehicles than we ever had on combustion engine side. Yeah. That's also because all the startups we have also in North America, but also in Asia, stepping into the market. And so it's really a challenge to keep it simple for the user how to charge, and very robust and reliable. And that's where we focus up a lot with our R&D. And we bring it now to the different markets. So starting with Europe, India was quite an interesting one, because they have their own vehicle manufacturers too, with Tata and Mahindra. And now in North America, some are also quite local. Yeah, if you think of especially the truck side, that's very specific to the North American market. But there's a lot of commonality also with the rest of the European and worldwide market on the other vehicles, if you think on SUVs or sedans and so on.
It's really exciting, and we sort of try to think of this as like, it seems like EVs have been around for a while because we're EV owners, but this is really very early stages, and there's a lot of stuff that you have to be prepared for as we get into more and more EVs, and as you said, more and more EV manufacturers, and it seems like you're well positioned to do that.
Yeah, and I guess we are always, because we've been very passionate about it, so we are, let's say, tolerant and first mover users. And what we saw now 3 years ago is that more and more regular users, which see in the EV just a car, are stepping into, and they are not dancing around the charging station when it's raining somehow to get it working, right? So for them it needs to be reliable, so when they get there in a smooth and fast way to plug in, do their stuff, and are certain that the things are working. And this is now also a new quality of expectations. I think more challenging than we would use the charging infrastructure, because we have a certain understanding, and this now needs to work. Otherwise, we are not leaving this plateau of further EV adoption. So I think we are quite there in a crucial phase also of the market.
Yeah, I think it's a big transition right now. I mean, we know about the EV transition, but within the transition, going from us that are like, let me try this charger and that charger and move around and we can investigate on our own, to, like you said, it's like people that just want to go and they plug in, and if it doesn't work, they're done. They're going to sell their car.
Yeah, exactly. And there's actually also something to win. Yeah, so it's not only that it's kind of, hey, if you switch over to EV, it's, hey, you need to learn new stuff. Right. Actually, if you do it right, I think everyone perceives, hey, how cool is it? I no longer have to show up at gas stations. I can just charge wherever I am in daily life. Yeah, and it's just like with your notebook. If there's a socket you plug in, you do your stuff, what you need to do locally, whether that's with retail, gym, at work, at home. Yeah. But you actually no longer need to schedule, I now have to go to the gas station, my tank gets empty. Yeah. So that's quite cool on one side. But on the other side, actually, as you said, this needs to be really smooth how you use it.
Right.
There was now a difference between how Europe started out and what we saw here in the US. So in Europe, we had early a little bit framing of the market, where also the legislation and the regulation said, okay, it's clear that along a parking lot you can't put 3 charging stations, right, of different vendors. So you need to cope with something which is called then also roaming and this horizontal integration. And this was quite early put in place, that you have a mean of, if you are part of one network, that you can also roam with the other
That's
networks.
awesome.
And this was a little bit different in the US, where you had very vertical networks. I think the networks itself were quite impressive how fast they developed, but it was vertical. So you needed to have membership of different networks.
I should show you my phone.
Yeah, exactly. And so this there was a little bit a different starting point, but we see nevertheless, I think also what we see now with opening up, for instance, also with the Tesla network to other drivers, that also we now get probably a further consolidation on the charging plug, that things are just converging. It's just a different starting point, but the market is developing in the same direction in the different regions and continents, and that's actually cool to see, because it's just an expression of this, let's say, professionalization of the market.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited that EcoG is now over in the U.S. We need expertise, we need experience here in the U.S., and we need to get to those like reliability standards that we hear about from Europe. So I'm excited.
Yeah, thanks a lot, and I'm really looking forward. The fair here has been really a cool next step. I think double the size in last year.
Yeah.
Roughly, I have an impression, and there you might be actually first mover even towards Europe. Is if you look at the commercial vehicle side, really exciting to see how much is going on here in North America on that topic.
It's been fun walking the floor and seeing all of these companies, and everybody's excited. So it's great to see, and I'm hoping next year is even bigger.
Yeah, we are looking forward to that one.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Now we're here with Bob, but I wanted to dive into EcoG coming to the U.S. and Jörg mentioned something that I heard about, but I don't know all the details, and that was Techstars. You want to talk a little bit about that background?
Yeah, sure. So I've been kind of a startup guy all my life, and so I really love working with startups. At the time of 2017, I was at Ford, though, as an employee, and I decided to participate in their Techstars. They had funded Techstars Mobility in Detroit.
Oh, wow.
One of the major funders. And so love working with startups, so I became one of the Ford mentors into that program, and I was there a few years doing that. And one of the years, 2017, a couple guys from Munich came in, 3 actually at the time, and I ended up being their mentor. So it was DC fast charging software. It was Johannes and Jörg, and nobody was talking about it in 2017.
Nah.
But we kind of helped shape the goal was to get through the 12-week program and do a demo. And the demo was to get a charger up and running and actually charge your car. So we scrambled. We got a car from Ford. It was one of their early prototypes, and we got it launched at demo day at Next Energy. So it was very successful, and that's how I first met the guys.
That's really cool. And now it's come full circle. EcoG just opened up in Detroit.
Yeah.
So now they're back. And now, like here at ACT Expo, which I think this is like a great, first booth to have for EcoG. It's like a lot of great connections here.
Yeah. It's an amazing show. I just can't believe how many vendors are here and how big it is. And so it's been a good place for us to try to meet other potential partners in the ecosystem, because I think that's what EcoG did really well in Europe, was built an ecosystem of partners that are doing components for fast chargers, so we can accelerate the time to market for a company to get into that space. We need to build that ecosystem up here, because we have some specific things like the NEVI compliance and UL listing and all those things that everybody's going to be looking for. We're working on expanding that network we already have in the U.S.
Yeah, we're walking around, we're seeing a lot of people mention NEVI, a lot of people, some of the Made in America requirements and stuff like that. But you're out here looking to to connect with all of those partners to help them, be NEVI compliant.
That's right.
Build reliable chargers.
And get the market faster and start making money off of the chargers. Obviously, the infrastructure is a big challenge here in the U.S. Listen to all the speeches. Everybody realizes we need more infrastructure to get the adoption. So, between what we're already doing with the software for fast chargers and what we're bringing to market, I'm sure with the power block and the dispenser idea, I think it's a way for us to get more density of infrastructure and reliable infrastructure because of all the experience we've had in Europe. So this is a great show to do that. And it was really fun to kind of open up Detroit last week with the governor of Michigan being there. And so there's a buzz in the air around the new lab in Detroit that we're part of. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. And EcoG is working on a lot of stuff, and can't wait to learn more.
Yeah, it's I'm really excited about the new reference framework, particularly the power block and the dispenser concepts, because one, it's just it's a much more efficient way to deploy level 3 charging. It could reduce OpEx by 25%, I think, and for fleets, for businesses, which are really going to have to start paying attention and getting infrastructure in, malls, you name it, we're going to need more density, and I think that particular offering is going to go over well in the U.S., and so I'm excited about that particular aspect of what we can do.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we are looking right now for, anybody who's doing level 2 chargers as an example, but is thinking about getting into level 3, we want to talk to them because we can help them get there faster. If they're doing level 2 chargers already, moving to our level 3 dispensers is another thing that they should be able to easily kind of take their experience from level 2 and with our support get to those dispensers. So we're actively pursuing anybody from those areas, and even component manufacturers that work within level 3s. We're looking for you. Come find us. I'm in Detroit. We're hit us up on LinkedIn or any way you possibly can, and we're happy to talk to you.
I'm very interested in bidirectional charging. I don't have it at home, but I keep hearing that it's coming soon.
Yes.
I know that there's some progress in Europe, but is there any progress in the U.S.?
There is progress in the U.S., and I think we're getting closer to actually bringing this to market. We already are doing it in Europe. We have partners that are already doing it, so we know how to do it. We have the technology to do it. It's working with companies over here and utilities to make it happen, and I think we're right on the cusp of that. And school buses is a great example. That's a lot of energy to be able to put back in the grid. They're only used twice a day, so we want to be able to be part of that evolution of EcoG.
Yeah, we've heard actually 2 or 3 times already people talking about specifically the use of school buses and having them being able to put energy back into the grid, and also like school loses power during the day and they have that big battery out there, it could be an opportunity.
That's right. And homeowners ultimately, I did hear from Edison on a speech earlier about the grid infrastructure that they have to build up to support all this. But part of that is the energy going back to the grid. So we got to get there sooner than later. So I'm hoping that we'll see in the next 12 months progress where we're seeing commercial installations, and we're part of it.
I hope so. We just got solar put on our house last year, and we opted not to put a battery on the wall because I'm like, I want a battery on wheels, not a battery on the wall.
Yeah, that's a good idea. They see a lot of these portables around here now too.
Yeah.
So it's great. So we're ready when we're looking for the opportunities here to implement it, but I think it's coming fairly quickly.
We're sitting down now with Veronica from EcoG. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So hi, I'm Veronica. I'm with EcoG since end of 22, and first I was the marketing lead, built up all the comms and marketing department, and since beginning of this year I'm focusing on the partner management and business development, because we find out as EcoG it's very important to have our EV ecosystem on place.
Right.
So we need someone designated dealing and just caring about our partners and our ecosystem for that.
That's awesome. So one of the things that EcoG is an expert in is charger development. Now, for me, I'm like, I don't know what all that entails. So you want to talk about what do you mean by charger development?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So, for example, if you are a charger manufacturer, right, and you want to enter into the DC or fast charging world, you can come to us, right, and we kind of experts in bringing all the components and parts together in the charger, because what we do is we create the software, the firmware, so to say, that is like on the core of a charger.
The brains.
Exactly, kind of the brain. And we also have the hardware part, which is the charge controller, right, that contains the software.
Okay.
And with that software, you kind of enable the charger, like components working together, charger can communicate to the car, charger can communicate to the grid, and charger can communicate to back ends or whatever. And we're pretty expert on that. And if you want to work with us, you don't have to do it by your own, right? You can focus on what you can do, and most probably manufacturing, or take care about marketing your new product. So that's what we're
So
do.
it's a way for a company that wants to get into fast charging to sort of fast track it a little bit, so that they don't have to handle all the nitty gritty stuff, because EcoG can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So either they want to do it from scratch, right? But they don't have to do it from scratch, because we already have experience with that. And the cool thing is we're also working closely together with partners from the industry, for example, like Infineon. And what we do with them is we set up kind of reference designs or demonstration systems. So it's kind of ready-made, and you can just adapt it as a customer if you want to. And you can easily step into manufacturing, because you can source those components. And it's all set up, it's all tested, it's interoperable, it's already, the work is already done with that.
And they can learn from your experience and get advice on what not to do and what to do. Yeah, absolutely. And it's not only now, right? So what we also want to put focus on is it's also if you look into the future, right? So it's very reliable for the future, because no one knows what's going to happen with those chargers, right? We only know that we put them in the field now, and they're very expensive, so they should be updatable, they should be smart, they should be working in 10, 15 years from now. So what we ensure is with what we do in the software, we are like on time. We always talk to OEMs, we test new vehicles, we test new standards, and so we kind of assure you as a customer that your chargers will be top notch all the time. Top notch, reliable, and updatable. So that's a huge part of it, right? And smart. Yeah. That's very cool. And so I would imagine that there's a lot of companies that are now getting into that and looking at trying to assemble all of the different pieces, and that's what you guys have been doing in Europe already, but now it's over here in the US. Yeah. So we've been doing this in Europe for over 6 years now. Right. And we already got like a 15% market share in Europe, and we have a pretty reliable ecosystem there. So we have a lot of partners across the industry, like sourcing components, manufacturing partners, white labeling partners, and then when it comes to installing those partners that do the site electrification and maintenance, installation services. And so now with the US market gaining some more speed, we also want to do the same thing in the US, and definitely just opened our office in Detroit, our headquarters, which is really exciting. And so we are also here right now to get to know all the partners and to build up our ecosystem here as well. Yeah. This is a perfect place to do it. It is, yeah, absolutely. Well, we're at ACT Expo, and a lot of the talk in the hallways is like what's going on with EV charging, current hot topics. I think one of the biggest one is NACS, and just looking around, there's a few NACS connectors that are appearing, but you're ready for that as well. Yeah, I think so. To put it like this, for us, for our software, it's just another plug, right? Right. So we can adapt easily to that. It's just about doing some software. What is it? Changes or adjustments? Just modify. Let's do it again. Yeah. So it's sort of like you're coming from CCS2 to CCS1. Yeah. Doesn't matter if it's CCS1 or NACS. It's like it's just a different plug. So basically the hardware, it's a different plug, right? And it just needs the same adjustments than if you would use the CCS1, right? So it's just
basically relay another plug, and it's our job to do the testing and to make it working, right? So we just did it, for example, for one of our customers. We adapted those two plugs, and it doesn't take long for us.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the easy part.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
Well, and then the other thing that we like. Pretty much every charging company around here, like I hear people talking to them or they're bragging about their reliability. And that's something that everybody asks us. And we did the EcoG video at CES, and people are like, well, how are they helping with reliability? Because everybody talks about it, but how is it actually being done? And what is EcoG doing to help?
Yeah, so what we do there is it's kind of in our DNA already, right? Because with our firmware, we enable the whole ecosystem, the charger and the communication to the car. So we have to do a lot of testing. That's what we're doing. So we test with all the vehicle manufacturers, all the vehicles we test. We test them in Germany, right, back in our headquarters, and we're also doing this now in Detroit. So we're having our own test facilities at the ACM there, and it's American Center of Mobility.
Yep.
And with all this testing, we kind of assure interoperability. And what we also do is, so for example, last year we published a charging reliability index, and for that we kind of had defined common mistakes that can happen right while charging, right? Like it could be something with the cable, it could be something with the plug. So there are a lot of tiny bits that can go wrong.
Yeah.
However, with the data we are collecting, you can see where the mistake is. And we tested this with some car manufacturers, and we kind of published that, and we're trying to do this again this year, so it's kind of be a evolving.
I thought it was really interesting because I looked at it, the publication, and I thought what was really interesting is we go out there and I think a lot of times when somebody can't charge, it's like it just didn't charge, and that's all that there is reported. That's all that there is, but there's different reasons, and I thought that was what was really impressive. Like we're looking at what are the reasons for the failure and trying to classify them. So then it's like, was it a cable failure? Was it something with the car not being warm enough, or was it a protocol issue? And it's like classifying those, because once you classify them, then you can start tracking down and how to fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, I don't know if it's of that utmost importance for the end user, right? But still, maybe there are some problems, or it might help them also to know what's wrong, right? So if it's the cable or if it's their car, because I think people also they're already kind of anxious, right, about the charging, right? Oh, is it going to work? And then if you go there and it doesn't work, you don't get any information, so you don't know what's wrong. So it might help them as well to know, it's your car, or don't worry, there's something wrong with the charger. We're gonna fix this. Sorry, go to the next one. So this shouldn't happen, right? But maybe it gives you a little bit more, security, to know how this works.
It's unfortunate because we've had people comment on our videos and in forums where they went to go charge and it didn't work, so they left, they went home, they're like, is there something wrong with my car? And then you ask, did you try a different stall or anything like that? Which they shouldn't have to do, but it's if they had more information, it says hey, this stall isn't working, but they just get the car's not working. So.
Yeah. But I think we're in a transition phase right now, right? So right now it's about this anxiousness, and people really want to know, which is perfectly fine, but maybe 5-10 years from now it will work, right? So you don't have to be anxious anymore, and then maybe you don't need to know anymore as well, right? So, but that's something we take care of, right? So that's really something we assure or want to assure that actually the end user can be confident and charging everywhere he wants. Yeah.
And on the other side, the charge point operator can get good information about where the failures are happening, and whether it's a certain component that fails or whatever, so that they can avoid that.
Yeah, so exactly, they can avoid that, and it also helps you for maintaining the infrastructure, right? Because there are a lot of parts in the charger, so it helps you to know exactly what's wrong, right? So if you think about services like predictive maintenance or something like that, right? So we are collecting data, and this is also something that might might be a service for the future, right? Or what keeps growing as well.
Because I knew, and it's something I didn't realize until I got into this, but it's like the cables. You think of like a cable, like you don't replace the cable on your toaster once a year or whatever, but cables on chargers, if they have a life cycle, so you have to know how many charging sessions. So then this is about time to replace this cable. So it's fascinating stuff like that as the end user we shouldn't have to know about. But I'm glad there's somebody like EcoG that's like,
if you want to know about it, you can know it. Yeah,
exactly. Very cool. So another topic that I see that's listed over here in your booth is about distributed charging architecture. I think I know what it is, but I want to let you explain it to us because I'm a novice.
Yeah. So I think that's as it says the word, it's a new architecture of the charger. So what we've seen in the last years was all those huge standalone chargers, right? Standing somewhere and
looks like a big refrigerator almost.
Actually, even bigger than a refrigerator, so really huge, right? So and this also includes like being huge, having a lot of technical stuff inside. It means it's very open to mistakes and failures, right?
Right, because there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, exactly. So what we thought about it is, why don't we kind of divide up the power module section, right? Like everything that is about the energy, the power modules, and the dispensers, right?
Right.
And why doing that is it gives you a lot of freedom if you want to implement charging infrastructure, because no one knows what's going to happen. So maybe you're a retailer right now, right? And you just want to start building up some infrastructure, and you will have a power block, and maybe you start with 2 dispensers, right? But at some point you say, oh, this is really good, and I need more of that. Then you can just add different dispensers, right? Like the outlets there to charge. And what's also fascinating is that you could do different kinds of outlets, right? So you don't rely on this one dispenser. It could also look different. Like, for example, we have this in bus depots, for example, they're charging from the pantographs or something like that. Or if you go with commercial vehicles, maybe it comes from the roof or something like that, right? So you can kind of be more flexible on your charging infrastructure. And it also means that it's more cost efficient, right? Because you can adapt it to your needs and what you need with time, so you don't have to invest. Well, you have to invest, right? But it might be easier to scale afterwards.
Yeah, it sounds like it provides some flexibility because you can have one power module, but a lot of flexibility to how you're designing your dispensers and deploying the dispensers.
Yeah.
So I imagine it provides a lot of flexibility just overall as well in other ways.
Yeah, so it's not only the flexibility in designing your infrastructure, like the number of your dispensers, but it also gives you a lot of flexibility when it comes to your site layout, right?
Right.
We know sometimes you have a little bit difficulties in your spaces, or you're in the inner city parking lots, right? It's a little bit difficult, but with that, with the division of the power block and the dispenser, you get a lot of freedom actually to build the charging infrastructure to your needs.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because I know just personally I've seen some where it takes up quite a bit of room, and if you could put the power a little bit further away, behind a wall even, then it could give you a lot of flexibility. So that's really cool.
Yeah, because we have to remember we still sit in a car, right? And the car is also big, and you have to have access to it. So also when it comes to like just accessibility of the charging infrastructure, it helps a lot to be flexible with this distributed charging architecture.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Another thing that we've seen a ton of, and like I can just see, you guys can't see it, but just all around here, it's just a ton of big trucks, buses, like all sorts of different things that aren't just going to be using level 2 charging or even regular DC fast charging. They're all talking about megawatt charging systems. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually learned in the keynote here that commercial transportation causes 7% of CO2 emissions. So there's truly a big need there to electrify it. And so it's not only the trucks, right? That's one thing, having them in a E version, right? But then it comes the next challenge, which is the charging infrastructure, right? Because you can imagine you need a lot of energy for that. So that's where megawatt charging comes from.
Right.
And with that comes, new challenges to the infrastructure. So if you have a look at a charger, you kind of need to maximize everything in there, and this comes with challenges. So it's on the one side, it's the grid, right? So you need more power from the grid. So this causes some challenges.
Right.
And then on the other hand, you also, it comes down to you need different cables, right? Because there's a lot of power going through those cables, so you need different cables. And this, for us at EcoG, means, just thinking about integrating new components, different components, testing them again, and basically maybe also working on new standards here as well, because it's going to be a huge thing, and it's it's going to stay in the megawatt charging. Yeah.
So it sounds like we can use a different word. There's a different connector or whatever, which is always different and a challenge. But it's all about integrations and standards, which EcoG has a lot of experience with. So Megawatt isn't here yet, but that's something that you guys are experts at, is those type of things, integrations, standards, testing. So it looks like it's going to be something that your guys are ready for.
Yeah, I think so. And we already look into this with some of our partners of our ecosystem or with customers, because it's not only us seeing that, hey, we need a reliable charging infrastructure also for commercial vehicles.
Right.
So we do what we do there all the time, right? Using our expertise from the years before, and that we learned with those only fast charging, right? Those lower energy levels, and we're just trying to adapt them with our customers and test on that. But it's just the thing we do, I would say. So it's quite usual to just see what's coming, and it's not only for megawatt charging; it's for every other trend in the charging in the charging world that we ever look at it. We see, okay, what did we learn the years before? What's the expertise, and how can we adapt and integrate seamlessly?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was really great to meet some of the EcoG team and learn about their mission of what they've been doing in Germany, what they're bringing over here to the U.S. I'm really excited to see them become fully established here and bring some of that reliable and better charging to us as an EV owner. And if you have any questions, I'm sure you can reach out to them directly or drop a comment down below. As always, please give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe for more videos like this. And as Liv would say, she's behind the camera right now. But just remember, whatever you drive, however you charge it, whoever's behind that charging infrastructure, enjoy the ride. Bye.